So this is a series of videos I've put together to make a long video on how to add a few upgrades to your Bobilvans heating, hot water heating system. So it works off a Chinese diesel heater into a heater matrix, a series of sensors on the new dual controller, activate the water pump which circulates the water, and in my case gives me a 20 litre hot water tank full of hot water. As you can see, it's actually up and running, and this is a journey to document the process and how I got it working. So today's mundane task. I had a leak from my Bobilvans from these elbow joints. Basically I replaced the O-ring here and on the barb fitting that comes out that end, but it was coming out the collar, so I contacted Bobilvans and they very kindly sent me two shiny new replacements. So after not using this for some time due to problems with the diesel heater, etc., and also leaky hot water tank, I ordered this new double switch controller. Now I'll take a video, I'll get some footage. In fact, give me a second and I'll basically get rid of all the sensor wires so that you can see the wire a bit more clearly, because it's important for people to know how to wire that. So what I've done, I had this leak coming out the collars, so like I say, they kindly sent me replacements which I fitted. I've just gone in and fired it up and it was gushing out the bottom. So on the bottom you've got these two screw fittings. Now you can see that the O-rings, that's actually one I've just started to dig off. If you have a look here, now they've compressed, flattened out, and they need replacing. So it might be an idea if Bobilvans actually come up with a little service kit for these, but luckily for me I've got this O-ring kit, so I'm going to replace those O-rings. One thing I did notice is my dogs stay in this area, in and out of the crates all day, and basically because of a poor design on my part, the air intake was down low for the diesel heater, and it was sucking in all the dog fur and over the winter all the dirt and dust, and it was blowing out through my diesel heater into my shower, making that all filthy. But also what it did is it clogged up the back of the matrix, which I'm in the process of cleaning now. That'll all be clean before it's all put back together. But yeah, it basically, I've only just discovered it this morning, so I'm going to go right through this, give it a good service, put it all back together, and then hopefully I'll have no more leaks. Now it may well be that I've compromised that, and I may have to buy a new one, but hopefully not. Hopefully a service and I'll get it all up and running leak free. It just depends on where. I mean, I've got a whole host of O-rings there. I'm pretty certain I can come up with ones that are compatible, and seal that all off again. But for now it's a boring process of cleaning this matrix all up, and then replacing the O-rings, flush it through, get rid of all the sediment that's in there, and hopefully put it all back together and get it running. So fingers crossed that'll be the next part of the video, or the final part of the video. But for now what I'll do is I'll just quickly pause this video and I'll move the wiring on the control panel so that people can see about doing an upgrade. The other upgrade involved basically a more powerful pump which I've wired in, got that running. So all of this is basically a whole revamp of my hot water system, which ran trouble free for a year or so, and then not through the fault of the Bobilvans kit, but through the fault of my diesel heater, and then also the dirt ingress from the dogs. It became problematic, and also my plastic shower tray cracked which gave me problems of leakage from the shower. So basically the whole process has involved redoing the whole back of the van, getting my fresh water feed all installed properly, my external shower point, moving that vent up. Just a combination of a load of problems, poor design, like I say, on my part, but experience of living in the van has given me a few pointers. So I'm in the process of revamping all of that. Even these cupboard doors, they were attached at the bottom and they basically folded open down, which became a problem when they jumped down on poor old Major, who his little cubby holes up the front of that area there. It was just falling down on him. So I changed that around quickly, put the hinges on the top so it basically opens upwards now. I'm going to put a plinth along the bottom area here and a plinth up on the upper area to go in up over and around the scorver beams from my bed to seal this whole water area in and keep it dust free. And then the doors will be modified and made smaller, and I'll put it'll all be covered with LVT, so when it's done it'll all look nice and neat and tidy. And I'll have some gas struts on there just to make the whole thing a lot more civilised, but also a lot more pleasing in the eye when you open up. This bit of ply is here as an extension just to stop the dog's fur from creeping around the corner. That will all be covered in LVT and finished off properly, just like this. When it's all done, I'm sure it's going to look really nice. So for now it's all silly little problems. I've plumbed in my bullfinch shower, that all works. I'm just about to sort out the fill up for my diesel heater as well. That'll be something similar to that, but I can get that in down lower. It'd be quite a simple fill up point, to be fair. So then it should make a lot of the problems I've experienced over the last year go away. It should be a lot easier to keep clean. It'll just involve wiping down LVT rather than hoovering smelly carpet. So all in all these little jobs should go to making my life a lot easier. But for now, back to the Bobilvans kit. I'll just pause this, like I say, move the wiring on that, and I'll come back to you with the. So here's my STC3008 double control panel. Nice neat job compared to the two single ones. There's my wiring, and I've managed to pull up a diagram on my laptop, kindly sent by Sam at Bobilvans. He wasn't sure if this would work. This is part of the hybrid kit that they sell, but obviously I've got the original bumper kit. Now that wiring diagram, which I'll leave zoomed in like that, works perfectly. So you've got positive base. Let's come back out a bit. In fact, let's go to the controller. So the positive comes out of port 1, goes all the way around to port 4 over this side, and doubled up to link to the position 1 on the switch. Position 0 on both switches are linked, and I've got a positive coming out of that which will go off to the battery. The negative comes in and is teed to basically give me a negative out to the battery and a negative out to the water pump, and there's a positive from the water pump which basically comes in from port 1 on this side, and that's fed through from the battery itself. So direct from the battery to port 1 this side, ports 2 and 3 are looped, port 4 goes over to switch point 1, and then switch point 0 and 0 on the two switches are linked and powered from the battery there. So I had it all wired correctly, basically deducing from the original two control panels how it worked, but I wasn't sure, so I messaged Sam from Bobilvans. he sent me a diagram which is on the laptop, and I can assure you that that works absolutely fine. So I'm now going to put everything together after cleaning it and hopefully come back to you in a bit with it all working. So I've finished changing all the O-rings. There's 2 on the bottom that were leaking quite badly, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, 4 on the top, and there's a couple inside as well. So a total of a dozen O-rings. I will change that plastic pipe at some point. Here's the old ones. Sorry for my finger in the way, but you can see just how flat and useless they were. So 2 new elbows, a dozen O-rings, a good clean up. I can't see any reason this won't start working again. It should be more efficient as well, because that area in there was absolutely caked in about 1/4 of an inch of dust, which was held back by a load of dog hair. So totally my own fault. If it does prove to be still leaky and whatever, then I'll have to contact Bobilvans to get the correct O-rings. I've just gone, as you can see, my stack on that bit has gone right down, but I've got this O-ring kit which only cost a few quid. So if it fixes this, stops any leaks, that's a good investment. But yeah, that's taken about 20 minutes of cleaning and replacing O-rings and tightening everything back up, and it's all ready to go back in now. So wish me luck. Hopefully that's cured all my leakage and I'll start working again. Well, pleased to say that my controller's working. I've obviously got to set that now for my hot water temperatures and time it to come in and everything. I'll play around with that in a minute, but more importantly, my Bobilvans heater matrix is back in, all connected up. Bit of water in the hot water tank, not a lot, just enough to get the circulation going, and it's not kicked the fan in yet, but so far no leaks. So my service with all the O-rings definitely seems to have worked. Now I've got a lot of work sorting all these cables out and doing all the electrics, because when I put it all together the first time, I just did it all temporarily because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. But now it's all good. I'm going to get this all wrapped up neatly, all cable tied, put behind conduit, and get it all nice and neat and tidy in a way that it never was before, to give myself something to be proud of when I open my cupboard doors. So for now, I'm basically patting myself on the back for repairing my water heater. I didn't think that would give me too much of a problem. No water gushing out, which is the main thing. Some staining on my LVT there from the heat, which is only to be expected, especially as it's never been put in 100% properly before. But the heater matrix is all nice and hot. The water pipes haven't moved up in temperature yet because the fan hasn't kicked in. The temperature gauge has gone up now. Just see it moving up. So the red temperature is the temperature being put out by the diesel heater at the point just there. So this is where the sensor probe goes in. So that gives me the temperature there on the red, and that the blue screen, the temperature probe for that is in the water tank. So that is actually starting to move up now, which means that the actual hot water is starting to heat up. So I should keep an eye on that and come back in a bit if it's coming up to temperature, and then maybe put some more water in and heat up a whole tank. But for now, I'm pleased to say that it all appears to be working and all appears to be leak free. So, had a few issues with this Bobilvans kit, so let's try and get a bit of a better view. It's gone a little bit. Let's open that up. So my diesel heater sensor is messing around a little bit. The heater's been running now 15 minutes, and as you can see, the temperature gauge is going down on the left. It should actually be rising, and it was up over 50 odd degrees just a moment ago. The system was up and running. Now the temperature gauge is starting to climb again. Not quite sure why this is happening yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on it, keep it running for a while, see what happens. But the gauges are set to trip at 40 degrees and set the water pump spinning the water. Now I can confirm that it's already heated the water up. I've just filled the hot water tank with fresh water, so we're going to go through the process again to see how long it takes to heat up a whole tank of water. So I've dismantled the whole side of my van to get to this. I'm going to be redoing it all in a ply with LVT, so eventually it'll look all neat and tidy, but at the moment it just looks a bit of a mess. But yeah, for now I'm concentrating on this, trying to get this back to the way it used to be when it had 2 single controllers. But this upgrade just makes things look a little bit tidier. An upgraded water pump as well. So pump's not on at the minute. And now the temperature gauge is going back down again. Now I'm going to go through and check all my wiring again in a minute, but I'm pretty certain it's not down to the wiring. But just double check it, cover all my bases. Had the water up over 40 degrees on about a quarter of a tank, and I've just filled the tank up now, so we'll see how long it takes to heat up 20 litres in a bit. So here we go, just see the light come on when it hit 40 degrees. So it will now set the pump up to churning the water around to heat that up. So this temperature on the heat of the red temperature just doesn't make sense to me, why it's jumping up and down all the time. So I'll swap the sensor out in a moment and see what that does. I've got a couple of spares now, so I'll leave this bit there and touch back with you in a bit once I've changed the sensors over. Change the sensor over. Oh, let's open this up. Put that at an angle so you can see it. So when that gets to 40, it should bring on the red light just under where it says out, and then that should set the pump going. There we go. So now the water pump should be running. So in my estimation, this temperature in red should be a lot higher, and for some reason that's now going back down again. Strange anomaly this is. I'm not quite sure why this is happening. That's 2 different sensors now doing the same. So my next step is to just double check all the wiring, make sure it's all making good contacts. So I'll do that and I'll come back. So I'm finally back on with my diesel heater and my Bobilvans upgrades. Now I've had all sorts of problems getting this to operate, and I won't go into the long and short of it, except to say that I've been getting controllers sent to me, and you can clearly see on there it's a 24 volt FET on both of them, and on the second controller you can clearly see, or perhaps not, there you go, clearly see 24 volt. This one, I've taken the seal apart, I've gone inside, and the FETs are clearly labelled 12 volt, despite what I was told that they're all marked 24 volt. This one was clearly marked 12 volt, so I'm quite confident that this time it's going to work. Now, my diesel heater hasn't been fired up for probably a week or so. Since the last time I tried it anyway, towards the end of last week I think. So I've had this delivered today. I've just finished connecting it up. I'm now going to start the diesel heater with the remote control. I normally hear the click, I didn't hear, it doesn't mean it's come on, but yep, I think it's on. So the temperature at the moment, so my water tank, which is 3/4 full, my hot water tank, it's a 20 litre tank that I put in, that's currently at 28.8 degrees, and it's set so that the pump should kick in at 40 degrees, or it's 38 degrees with a 2 degree overrun. So the diesel heater temperature is 28.8 at the moment, the water temperature at the moment is 26. It's a nice bright sunny day. So in a moment when the diesel heater fires up, we should see that temperature increase, and then once that gets to 40 degrees, 38 degrees, it should kick the other one in. We should see these lights underneath out, we should see those come on to show that it's activated. So I'm not quite sure how long this is going to take. The diesel heater, yeah, the fuel pump's priming. So I don't know if you can hear that in there, my diesel heater. So there's my matrix. I've gone through the videos of servicing that. So today, the final part, let's see what happens. I just realised I've got my personal details showing there, so we'll get that covered up. You hear the diesel heater being primed. I can hear the fan accelerating a little bit, so we should start to see something happens pretty soon. So the reason I want to cover this whole process here is because the issues I've had. Now I'm not here putting Bobilvans down. I accept that they've had problems with their suppliers, and unless they physically take each control apart, they're not to know. So I'm not blaming them in the slightest. It's just that it's become quite a stressful process to get hold of a 12 volt controller for my system. Now, without seeing this run through, and I promise you I haven't had this up and running, this particular controller, but I'm confident, because I've seen that the FETs both say 12 volt on them, I'm confident that this time we're going to see something happen. So what was happening before is the water pump would not kick in and circulate the water. So it would, if I connected it direct to 12 volt, I could get hot water in my system. So you can see that the temperature gauges start to climb. I'm pretty sure the heater settings are all full, but I'm just going to click the remote control. Just going to click it up a number of times, and that should make sure it's on maximum temperature. Obviously bear in mind it's a very hot sunny day. So what we're looking for on the left hand, on the red gauge is we're looking for that to hit 38, or I believe it's 40 with the 2-degree overrun, and then we should start to see the pump. We should notice that that twitches, so I'll try and keep that in shot, and it will twitch because it's not mounted yet. So my idea is to take this controller up the front of the van, because I've always had the dual controllers at the back, which is fine, but in the middle of winter when you want hot water, you've got to get out in the pouring rain to put your switches on. It wasn't ideal. And have a nice neat single controller like this, that was what I wanted. So this is what I'm doing. So once I'm happy that this kicks in and runs, I can run the wiring towards a more suitable place to have my controls for my hot water. So keep an eye out on the left hand side where it says out. I'm looking for a little red dot LED to come on. I'm not sure if it comes on at 38 or 40, but we'll climb it quite quickly, so it should happen soon. Obviously it's going to be 40. Also keep that water pumping. There we go. Right, so first process has happened. I can't feel anything in the water pump just yet, so I'm not sure that's operated yet. Let's give it a moment, see what happens. So the heat is just about to slow the fan speed down because it's been tuned. I can't feel anything on the water pump just yet. So that clicking was me just making sure the temperature's up on the heater. I think it must have been turned down. So the diesel heater is heating up nicely. I've still got nothing happening with my water pump. Though I expected that to be operating now. Maybe that the water inside the matrix is too cool. I don't know, I'm not quite sure about this. Blue dotted light underneath out on the right hand side. I'm waiting for that to come on, so perhaps that's triggered when the diesel heater gets to 68, 70. silicone pipes. This still, oh, this one's hot. And that one's hot. That one's cold at the moment. I've just knocked the sensor out, so that's my fault. Let's put that back in. Both of those pipes are hot, and this one is cool, so perhaps there is water circulating. Follow those pipes from the back of the matrix into the pump, out into the water tank. So perhaps we'll see the water temperature in blue rising in a second. I'm waiting to see the blue light trigger. Will that go at 70? No. Pump doesn't appear to be working. Although these pipes are both hot. Put that switch on. So I'm going to pause the process there because the video has been running for quite some time, and I'll start again if I notice that the pump starts to operate or that the water temperature starts to climb. So I'll pause it there. So I have an update on how I've managed to get this working. So I wired this controller up. I've dismantled the backing so you can see. So in the back, the water pump, positive, thin wire. It should, according to the diagram Bobilvans gave me, which to be fair to them, they didn't tell me it worked for definite. Now I know this is upside down, but you have to bear with me on that. So the diagram shows that the positive for the water pump should be put into position number 7, presumably because 8 and 9 are bridged. Number 10 is looped into position 1, so basically it gets power to position 1, the wire is doubled up and looped to position 10 to power that then powers 9, which is bridged to 8, which then should technically, I guess, put positive power to position 7 where the positive for the water pump was fitted. So again, I couldn't get this to work, so what I did is, it dawned on me that perhaps I was getting a positive from the positions 8, 9 and 10, and perhaps one of those was triggered by the temperature. So I took the temperature sensor out for the heater, wired in the positive of the pump to position 8, as you can see, and lo and behold, when the thing got up to temperature at 40 degrees, it kicked in the water pump. So as you can see now, my hot water is heating up. So if I sorry, I've got this all down at the wrong angle now, so if I put that up there so it's easier to see. So if I disconnect the sensor from the diesel heater now, you'll see the temperature start to drop, and it'll drop at a rate, and then it should, when it gets below 40, I can feel the pump going. When that red light goes off, I'm assuming the pump will cut power. I've moved the sensor to a place where it's getting quite hot, so here we go. So I reckon when it gets below 38, the pump will stop working. And yeah, I can confirm the pump's not working. So I'm going to put the sensor back in to the diesel heater. So keep an eye on the temperature to go back up. I've got my hand on the water pump. I've just triggered something in the diesel heater. I might have knocked it off somehow. I know what it is. I've leant on the remote control. Oh no, yes I have. So apologies for that. But the temperature should go on, it should activate. I'll keep my hand on that water pump. I'm sure it'll go over 40. Right, water pump's just come on. So the problem was the wiring diagram. So the solution, the water pump positive goes into position 7. Sorry, position 8. And that's now cured my problem. So, fresh start. Had it all up and running, and then I accidentally knocked the diesel heater off. But I've just started up again, so my temps are higher than the first start, obviously. But when the diesel heater kicks in and knocks the temperature up to 40 degrees, we should see the water pump kick in. So the solution, as I said in the previous section of the video, was to amend the wiring from the diagram to get positive from the water pump into port 8 instead of port 7, and it was working fine. So fresh start. It shouldn't take too long for the diesel heater to kick in and push the temperatures up, because it's already been running. But before I mount this all and extend all the wiring and all of that, I just want to show clear documented evidence of it working. So pump started priming, so it shouldn't take too long. The interesting thing is that it was only running for a couple of minutes, and the water's heated up to 37.9 degrees from, I think it was 23. So it doesn't take long to heat up what is, it's got to be about 13-14 litres of water in there. It's a 20 litre tank, and it's about just under 3/4 full. So diesel heater's priming, the pump's running, it shouldn't take too long. And then this series of videos that I've done to document my journey, I can hopefully post a satisfactory conclusion. Throughout the process it's been frustrating for myself, but also for Bobilvans, because there were a number of issues that cropped up with the controllers, and I fully accept that they were out of their control unless they physically stripped down each controller and checked them themselves, which I believe that they've started to do. But anyway, I've been really impressed with my Bobilvans kit. This particular episode includes stripping down the double heater matrix and servicing it, as you've already seen, which was very simple, and considering the product is well over a year old now, I'm very happy with my purchase. It didn't cost me an awful lot. So diesel heater's kicking in now, temperature's already rising, so as soon as that climbs to 40, it'll activate the red light on the just below where it says out, above the red digits, and then that will kick the water pump in. Let's see if I can extend it to the water pump. You should maybe see it's only got one screw holding it up. So temperature's climbing. I'm right in the middle of upgrading all my cabinets and stuff on this end, so this has been frustrating because it's meant I just can't close it all in properly where I want it to, but let's turn the phone around. So the temperature's up to 37.5 on the diesel heater, 6, so it shouldn't be too long now. And what we're looking for is the water pump to just, it should hopefully just move, the wires should give it away when it kicks in. .7, 38.8, so it's climbing quite quickly. So keep an eye on that water pump in the background. The light should kick on. There you go. So you clearly saw that the pipes moved. So now the heater's been running for a little while. Water temperature's coming up quite nicely. Got a bit of an odd issue where when I locate the temperature sensor in the correct place on the diesel heater, it doesn't seem to be given a true reflection of the temperature. This is since I cleaned it all out and put it back together, so not quite sure why that is, to be honest. But I can investigate again. When I put it into the slots, it shows a much lower temperature than it should. But that's just minor. Anyway, if I take the temperature sensor out now and I mount it, I'll leave it on the screen on the temperature sensor. But if I put that into the middle, so I'm putting the sensor over into the middle of the matrix, you'll see that temperature rises quite rapidly. He says yeah, no, I'm happy that that's all working correctly now. The water pump's busily churning the water around, the tank's getting warm, the pipe's all hot, so I'm happy now that that's all working as it should. It really doesn't take long to heat this water up, so it's quite an impressive system, to be honest. Anyway, that's that's me all happy that I've got this up and running finally. And with luck it'll be helpful even to Bobilvans. The diagram they sent me was 99% correct, just with one difference for me with my system to get this double controller working for it. So that's the end of a long journey. I hope it proves interesting to some people and helpful to others that want to go down this road and have the dual controller. It's actually a really simple process. It's just been a nightmare for me to get a 12-volt controller and to finally find the solution as to why nothing seemed to be working correctly. I'm going to play with the other controllers which are marked 24 volt to see if they work, and if they do I can send them back to Bobilvans. But yeah, I mean, as frustrating as the journey's been, Bobilvans have been with me the whole way. They've gone above and beyond to get bits to me. They've made a couple of mistakes, but you know, I've made a few myself, so there's no issues there. You know, in terms of a company that stand by their product and stand by their customers, I can't fault them that way. So thank you to Ed and to Sam. Some of you will recognise Sam's voice. I did from his YouTube channel, Freedom Striders. I'm actually a subscriber, so I recognised his voice instantly. But they've both been very helpful, gone above and beyond to make sure I got parts through as quickly as possible and so on. So no fault of theirs. More than happy to recommend them and their system. So thanks for watching this, and I'm sorry there's so many parts of the video which I'll link up. I'm no YouTube expert. I just document my build process, clip my videos together using basic software. I'm using my my mobile phone to video all the footage. So I'm not a serious YouTuber like some. I'm not out to gain loads and loads of subscribers. But in saying that, a year ago I had 25. Through this build process we're approaching 200 now. That's, you know, success for me. I'm not looking for thousands and thousands of subscribers. I'm not looking to get invited to events. I'm not looking to get things for free. I'm just an ordinary guy documenting my journey and enjoying the process, learning so much along this journey. It's been one hell of a journey. But the beauty of it is, having built the van myself, when I have these issues, I find that I manage to solve most problems. So yeah, so like I say, thanks to Ed and to Sam for Bobilvans. I'm really pleased with the support that they've given me, and to finally bring an end to this process. So thanks ever so much to those guys.